Hey guys, I'm really excited about the video that I have for you right now, which is, so you want to be an NBA dancer. Okay. It is no secret that I was a Laker girl. I thought I would get this video out. I think it's important that I get this video out before Staples Center changes their name. Tears. Staples Center is the home of the Lakers, the home of the Laker girls, and yes, there are other teams that play there too, but the most important ones are in that purple and gold. And it makes me really sad that they're changing the name. I know a lot of people feel the same way that I feel, but it just is what it is. But in the NBA world, I have quite a bit of knowledge, so I want to share it with you. And if this is something that you want to do, you can absolutely do it. It is attainable, and I hope this helps. Let's get started. A lot of people don't know this, but I actually auditioned more than once before I got the job. So I learned a lot through that experience. And then also, I auditioned for other teams when I didn't make the Lakers the first time. So I know a little bit about the other teams too. And then, you know, I'm gonna throw a little football in there too if you wanna know about DCC, the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders, and their audition process. I know that's football, but you know, let's talk about it. My first time auditioning for the Lakers, I was so green is what they call it, you know, if you're like new. I don't like the word naive, but I was very green. I was like in over my head. I had never done anything like that before. I had danced and I had traveled dancing and I had done theater, but not the exact style and, you know, je ne sais quoi of an NBA dancer. I had never been to California before. I went alone, which traveling alone, no problem, but it was just my first time there. It was an experience. I was so excited that I kind of missed some important things in my getting ready process. I knew like what to wear, how to style my hair, and all of that, but I forgot to look at the exact location of auditions. And I just assumed that they would be at Staples Center because a lot of NBA teams will hold their dance auditions at the arena that the team plays at. And so I booked a hotel downtown LA, not knowing that I actually needed to go all the way to El Segundo and audition for the Lakers. Now, that is such a rookie mistake. I never even told my parents that. Like, I was in the wrong place. I didn't find out until maybe like the day before I flew. I was like rechecking everything and I was like, oh crap, I am not in the right place. But I wasn't gonna change my hotel, so I took a cab. The hotel was like, do you want us to call you a cab? And I was like, okay, yeah. They called me a cab. I am in the cab for like an hour, you know. It is early in the morning and I believe it was on a weekend, so that was helpful, but it was a long trek, right? So you definitely don't want to make a rookie mistake like that, okay? Whatever team you want to be a part of, wherever you're going for your audition, you definitely want to triple check the time that it's at, the things that they require you bring, and the location. That's really important. I got lucky. I took the trek from downtown to El Segundo, and it did take a while, but I wasn't late. I was still on time, fully ready to audition, just a little flustered, but I definitely had enough time to get over that before we started dancing. Before you even arrive, right? Day of, before you get there, there are some things that you need to take care of on your own. You should be a trained dancer. Now, most of these open calls, they will allow anyone in, and the Laker girls do have a TV show, and so they do highlight some of the dancers who are there who are not trained, and they kind of frame it as comic relief. You know, it's like American Idol. People do watch American Idol because they want to see the people who think they're really good, and then you find out like, oh. So you definitely want to be trained in your training, in your technique, whatever style, you know, if that's hip hop, if it's one of the more hip hop teams, if it's in heels, if it's a heels team, or if it's a sneaker, you know, true 90s NBA team, you have to know that style. So before you even think of showing up, I would suggest going to some of the clinics and camps that the teams have. Just about every team has some kind of pre-audition class or pre-audition clinic where you can learn the style, where you can be in the room. Sometimes you can be in the exact room that you're going to audition in, which is really smart. You know, for me, I just flew from out of town and showed up, never been to the space, I had never been to a Laker game, you know, but I had seen the girls. There's so much information on YouTube, now on Instagram. If you want to watch full dances, you can absolutely do that on YouTube. And if the team does have a TV show, which currently I don't think any of the NBA teams have a TV show anymore, but if they do, and if they did, you can go back and look at those too. So you want to make sure that your dancing is good and that you come correct with the dancing, because that's the most important part. Now, after that, you get into the fun part, which is what to wear, how to do your makeup, how you want to do your hair. So for hair and makeup and what to wear, now most of the auditions on their website, they will say you need to be wearing body conscious. Body conscious just means it needs to be something that you can show off the shape of your body, or be an athletic wear that shows off your shape. That's body conscious. Or they may say trunks sports bra, they may say swimsuit, they may say athletic top and bottom. You know, there's a lot of different ways to word it, but again, Google is your friend, YouTube is your friend. All of these things have been documented. You kind of want to get obsessed with whatever group it is that you want to be a part of. After I didn't make it the first year, that's exactly what I did. I got really obsessed. I watched all of the old shows. I found the girls on Instagram that used to be LGs. I found YouTube interviews and dance videos, audition videos, and then I got to research about the team, research about their director. I got really obsessed, so I knew what to expect even more the next time that I went in, and that's what you want to do too. Preferably before the first time. Once you know what it is that they want you to wear, then comes the fun part. You need to pick within reason, within what they're giving you, the parameters of what they've given you, pick the colors that make you look amazing. Whatever your skin tone, body type, hair color, whatever, make sure it looks amazing on you. Don't worry about the girl in the white bikini. You know, white isn't for everybody. Definitely wear what is good for you, because it will make you stand out. And then doing your hair. Now, here's a tip that should be obvious, but you never know. Most of the teams that are more traditional, like the Lakers, very traditional team, they don't like a lot of fake hair, false clip-in type, or strange colors, you know, like pink and green and blue and purple, or patches of blonde. You know, actually I would say most teams want to have a more unison look, a one color look. Some girls do have highlights, but it's very tasteful. So you want to think about that. And then whatever style, whatever color, however you do your hair, it should be down. But however you do it, you should be able to dance in it. Your hair should not be a distraction from your dancing. In fact, nothing should be a distraction from your dancing, because that's the real reason why you're there. Now, makeup. This is a tricky one because there's going to be a lot of cameras. There's usually internal cameras, which are cameras for the team itself, you know, archives and things like that. Some take pictures of you at the audition so that they can have pictures printed out so they know who's who. Some people do ask you to bring that headshot and resume, so you should have that. And you should match your headshot and resume. You don't want to, you know, can't have a photo from when you were 12 and now you're 18. You definitely want to have those things in check. But your makeup, you want to be on the border between show makeup, you know, there's 18,000 seats, right? So you have to have quite a bit of makeup to project and to, you know, define your expressions while you're dancing. But because this is an audition, you still want them to see you. So you have to find this like fine line, right? And don't worry about once you make it, they'll show you how to do your makeup. They'll tell you what's the best way and what colors do they like. Don't worry about that, but do what you like to do and do what looks good on you. But amp it up just a little bit more because there are going to be lots of cameras and possibly video. I think press does show up to the Laker girls auditions. They did also to the Heat. That was another team that I auditioned for. So know that cameras will be on you, eyes will be on you. You're all set, you know what to wear, you know how to do your hair, you know you have makeup, you know the style, you're ready and in the best dance shape of your life. You are ready, right? You have your directions, you have your instructions, your location and time, all that, headshot resume, you've got it all in your bag. You probably have a gigantic bag, multiple shoes, backup makeup, water, snacks, because it's gonna be a long day. You have all these things and you show up and you are ready. That would be like top tier, best case scenario, ready. That is you. That's where you wanna be. So you show up. Now, everyone has a different process and everyone has a different timeline of what happens in their auditions. There are some teams that take auditions for a month. There are some teams that take auditions for a week. There are some teams that take auditions, you find out you're a finalist, and then you have, you know, a camp to go to. So there are very different routes of how this can go, but you need to know that ahead of time because that could affect school, that could affect work. If you're traveling from another state to an audition and then you find out you're a finalist, but then you have to stay for 2 more weeks for a camp, that can be tricky. You're gonna want to find somewhere to live or go with a friend and hope that you both become finalists so that you can split an Airbnb. It can get a little tricky, right? So here's what happens for the Lakers. You show up on that first day, you go through a few rounds, lunch, another few rounds, and then the day is over. After that, there's an interview. After that, there will be another day for you to come in. You know, then there's a phone call. Then you find out, did you make it? Then camp starts. But once you're in the camp for the Lakers, you are a Laker girl. You have made it and you are signing a contract before camp. Now, there are other teams like the DCC where you'll audition. It's a few days. It's kind of a long process, but then you become a finalist. Then you're in the camp. Camp takes a few weeks. They're one of those like that, right? And they do have a good system, and the veterans are really nice about helping new girls who have become finalists and helping them find housing and different things like that because they know that it's such an extensive process. So that's one to keep in mind. Now, the Heat, they're somebody who's different. The Heat, they have like a fashion show on a day. I think their process was like a week or 2 weeks, but in the middle of all of that, interviews, most everyone will have an interview. So you had dance auditions, interview, they had a fashion show, which I think used to be a swimsuit runway, but now it might be more clothed, I think. This was a while ago. And I didn't make it to the fashion show, so. But I do think that their process is also very tricky. The Celtics, their girls, I believe theirs is a longer process. And the Rams, which is football again, but their first year back in LA, they had the craziest audition experience I have ever heard of, which they sold tickets for people to come and watch the final dances, watch the fashion show, which was a swimsuit walk, and then do a live telling of who made it and who didn't, like on stage. I don't know if they still do that, but They definitely did that the first year. So again, you can look all of this up. It will tell you, and most teams want you to know that that can happen so that you know how to prepare. Inside of that very first day, if things are still the same, you will do an across the floor in small groups. You will then, and there's a cut, you will then learn a combo, perform that in groups, and there's a cut. Then I believe there's lunch, and then I believe you come back and you may do that dance again, and then they do the line. Now, most everybody knows about the line. They line up all the women that are left, and one by one, you come forward and you have a chat with the judges in front of all the other girls. Now, you could be standing there for quite a long time, waiting for each girl around you to go down the line. But your adrenaline, luckily, is still pumping, right? So it doesn't, I don't remember it feeling like forever. I know that I was somewhere in the middle, and there's always this like feeling of like relief after you've gone and you come back and then the next girl goes. What did they ask me? I know that you had to go up, say your name, say your age, where you were from, and why you wanted to be a Laker girl. So I don't know if the question is always the same, but you should think about that. Have a good reason, you know. Don't say it's for the TV show, because they don't even do the TV show anymore. I'm not gonna tell you what not to say, but just think of something that is genuine, like a real reason of why. If you just love dance, then say that, you know. They do a really good job of weeding out people from that question. So let's talk interviews. Now, every team is going to have a different process. The DCC, they bring girls in groups. The Laker girls, it is a one-on-one, or a two-on-one sometimes, where it's just one dancer and the director, or one dancer, the director and her assistant, or maybe it's just the assistant now. But yes, it'll be just you, the only dancer in the room. And questions could range from your childhood to the actual members of the Lakers basketball team. You need to know about the team history, the dance history, because they're different, right? Like you have team history, which is the basketball team, and then you have team history, which is the dancers. You need to know about both. And you should know who is on the team this year or the year that you're going in. And during that time, it's off season. So there could be trades still happening. There could be guys injured, shifts going around with the team, right? So you kind of have to know what's going on. Now that's something that I think if I had made it further into the experience my first year, I would not have had the right answers for that if they asked me about like the players. So I'm glad that the second time around, I was really ready. Now, what you wear to your interview is very important too. You should be in business attire. It is a job interview. Now, that might be strange to some people if they've just been dancers and danced their whole life. You know, you're thinking, you know, why do I have to do this? But they want to get to know you. They want to know if you are someone who can represent the brand. And I would say that goes for every single team. They want to know if you would be a good representative for their brand. So you know the team history, you know the dance team history, you know your history. That was the one thing that actually caught me off guard, was that she wanted to know about me. I was like, oh, right. I was super prepared on team stuff and history stuff, but I didn't really think like, oh, I need to talk to her about where I went to school. And after that, after the interviews, we did have another meeting. It was the final dance moment, and I don't think that we learned anything new. I think we just danced again what we had learned. So there was a lot of practicing in between, once you find out that you're a finalist and that you're going to the interview process, you should be practicing the material that you learned from the audition, like every day, 5 times a day. I was in school when it was happening, so I had the ability to go to like dance studios or to rent a dance studio and practice. If you don't have that, practice in your garage, practice in your room. You need it. If you really want it, you should be practicing. And after that comes the phone call. And I remember very well being in my dorm room, getting the phone call, and she told me, and I tried to like play it off, you know, you don't want to like scream in someone's ear. But it was a really exciting moment, and I was really proud of myself. And after I hung up, I may have cried. And then like the first person I think I called was my mom, you know, and just, I was just so excited for the rest of that day. And after that started my journey of being with the team, representing the team. And you know, that there's so much more that I can say and share about my time with them. But what I will say is it was a really like pivotal time in my life, and I don't regret it. I don't. There's a ton I could say, you know, but I'll write a book one day with all the stories of all the shows and jobs. I'm still out here working and performing, so you're gonna have to wait to find out all the rest. I definitely will make more videos about this kind of thing because I think YouTube was something that really helped me, and there weren't a lot of one-on-one videos where someone was just like, hey, I did this team and this is what happened. But there was still information for me there. So if I can give back just a little, this is my way of doing that. So if you have questions, I will answer them. I try to be an open book and not a gatekeeper. So I'm happy to do that. I really hope this helps. And if you're gonna audition, good luck. Thanks.